was married to Ethan for 10 years. That sentence still feels unfinished, like I'm supposed to add. And then, but there is no neat ending. In the beginning, loving him was effortless. I loved how his mind never rested, how he filled rooms with ideas and noise and warmth. I loved that he made Sundays feel special, even when all he did was burn the toast. With him, I felt chosen, seen. Like my laughter mattered enough for someone to memorize it. Somewhere along the way, love stopped feeling like home and started feeling like responsibility. By year 4, I noticed the small things first. How he listened only long enough to respond, not to understand. How every disagreement turned into a discussion I was too tired to win. I didn't hate him then. I just felt tired. So I got quiet. I told myself silence was peace. It wasn't. As the years passed, I began to disappear inside the marriage. I grew, changed, questioned myself, and he stayed familiar, comfortable in ways that made me feel invisible. I hated myself for resenting him for that. I hated that I still loved him anyway. By year 7, affection had become routine. A kiss before work, a hand on my back in public, sex that felt like muscle memory. He thought we were fine. I knew we were surviving. The hate wasn't explosive, it was quiet and heavy. I hated how lonely I felt lying next to the man who knew my favorite songs and my childhood fears. I hated that when I tried to explain, he made jokes or brushed it off. I started to believe maybe the problem was me. The night everything ended was ordinary. Dishes in the sink, the TV murmuring in the background. I asked him, "Do you ever feel lonely with me?" He laughed, not unkindly. That's a strange thing to ask. In that moment, something in me broke open and shut at the same time. I realized I had been translating my pain into a language he didn't speak, and I was exhausted from trying. When we decided to separate, there was no screaming, just disbelief, grief, and a relief so sharp it made me feel cruel. I hated myself for feeling lighter. I hated that loving him wasn't enough anymore. Packing our life into boxes, I found proof of what we'd been. Photos of us smiling, bodies leaning toward each other without effort. The love had been real. That hurt more than if it hadn't been. On the day he left, I stood in the doorway and watched 10 years walk away. I loved him. I hated the marriage. I hated that both things could be true. We didn't say goodbye. Some endings don't need words. Just the quiet understanding that love can exist and still not be able to stay.